back to the show, everybody. I'm Damon Hatfield. Now we're going to take a look at Sid Meier's Civilization Beyond Earth Rising Tide expansion. Dave and Will here are co-lead designers. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thanks very much. Yeah.
So Beyond Earth took the Civ series in sort of a new direction, new locations.
Yes, definitely.
And what does Rising Tide add to it?
So Rising Tide is our first expansion, and we've decided to take the game and push it even further into the future, into the sci-fi. So it raises the stakes for so much of the game. We've got some big new features coming, the two largest of which are aquatic gameplay and a whole new diplomacy system, and then many other small changes besides. So we're taking the game, it's more futuristic, it's crazier, it's wilder, it's a lot more dangerous, with the 4 new factions, new biomes, new aliens, all kinds of new content. It's really a whole change in how the whole game plays from beginning to end.
So with a name like Rising Tide,
yeah,
there's going to be like a water element to it?
Yeah, you might say.
Yeah.
So here you can see in the video, the way that the oceans look has been completely redone. So like they're absolutely beautiful living environments where there's rich terrain, there's strange creatures, there's new resources out there. And the big deal is that you can drive your colonists out onto the sea and settle there. You can build cities, you can develop, you can claim the territory, you can fight, you have huge naval combat. So the whole surface of the planet is playable. Everything is up for grabs. There's so much power to be had at sea, and it's designed to be totally seamless with land. So you can have any combination of land and sea together, and the whole game is there for you to fight over, to compete over, to win with.
Are there any benefits to settling at the bottom of the ocean?
Bonjour,
Well, your cities float, and
Okay.
the big deal with them is that they travel around the map.
Okay.
So they're actually sailing cities,
Interesting.
and that's how you gain territory. It's how you claim new territory. You can even claim other people's territory this way. You can use your cities as floating fortresses along with a navy as an invasion force. You can really pit them head to head. So like sea comes along with its own unique resources that are powerful in their own ways, but really the ability to drive your cities around to make your territory active makes water gameplay a lot faster, a lot more volatile, a lot more dangerous, but also potentially the most lucrative way to play. You can win a game of Civilization Beyond Earth without ever setting foot on land, and that's a really exciting way to play. Yeah.
This isn't a standalone expansion, is it?
It sort of feels like it. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so much content in this thing, but it's not a standalone expansion. You'll need the base game to play. But as David said, this Civilization expansions in the past have kind of targeted specific parts of the game, either the middle game or the late game. If you look back at Gods and Kings and Brave New World for Civ 5, this expansion really covers the entire scope of the game, and we like to relate it to the XCOM expansion to Enemy Unknown. So it really does change the way that you play this game in pretty fundamental ways. So if you are very comfortable with Beyond Earth, Beyond Earth, this is really going to change everything for you.
Yeah.
We're looking at artifacts here?
This is the artifact system. This is an extension of the quest system which we introduced in base BE, and it lets us award the player with objects that they find by doing expeditions, exploring the world, completing quests. And these objects can be traded in for a quick gain of yield, or they can be collected into sets and traded in for things like wonders or buildings that you could not have built otherwise. So it's a simple system, but it lets us deliver a lot more of that narrative content that our players really want.
What are we seeing here? This is some sort of alien...
Yeah. These are the alien hydrocoral. It's one of the new life forms that you can find only at sea. They're not strictly speaking sentient. They're not alive. They're sort of like living mountains, and they grow on the roots of the sea, and they can take over whole oceans if you don't like fight them back. But they won't come after you. They're not active that way. They're really, at this point, they're just in the way. You can see our water colonists floating over there. We want to settle right there. It's a good spot, lots of good resources. So these hydrocoral have got to go. And we're deploying our submarines, which is a new naval unit for the game. It's actually coming back from older civs where they used to have subs to bombard them and get them out of the way. So aliens play a really active role in the aquatic environment. There's lots of new aquatic aliens and whole new aquatic AI with how they build and how they live and how they move around the seas. The hydrocoral are a really unique, really interesting way for you to find obstacles and challenge at sea and have to overcome it. So once we get these out of the way, you can see the colonist will do his deployment. And
Our artists have had a really excellent time crafting this new environment, and there's subtle differences in the ocean between each biome. So it just looks great. You can see down in there all of these new resources and things that you can explore and find. Yeah. And here we're going to see a lot more of our aliens. There are even some that are amphibious. They can crawl from water onto land and back and forth. And after attacking that hydrocoral, they got kind of angry at us. So we're going to have to clear them out here in order to protect ourselves.
Right.
So there's an entirely new ecosystem here that you have to learn. In Base Beyond Earth, figuring out the puzzle of the aliens was one of the things that you did as a player, especially in the early game. And now that game has changed because of the addition of the new water gameplay.
Right. So we're taking a few pot shots. Aliens are, they've always been a really interesting kind of NPC element. Sort of like they provide a kind of PvE story to the game, like how you're going to use the aliens, how they're going to impact your game. One of the other new features that we're really excited about is the addition of a special ability called Leash Aliens.
I'm sorry, what was it?
Leash as in, you know, like a dog?
Yeah.
So if you play the Harmony Affinity, which is like the sort of planet-focused, alien-loving affinity, and you get enough power, you can send your explorers out and they can actually take control of wild alien units, up to and including the massive siege worms and alien kraken, those huge mountain-sized aliens that live at sea. So previously, aliens kind of factored in a passive way to your strategy. Now they can be active. You can literally make them your army. You can take over whole alien ecosystems and throw them at your opponents, or just get them out of the way. Do whatever you want with them. It's a really dynamic change to the game, and it makes the Harmony Affinity really come to life when the aliens become an active part of their strategy.
Very cool. So it's the Rising Tide expansion. Does it have a release date?
It's going to be fall.
This fall.
This fall, and we're releasing for PC first, and then Mac and Linux to follow.
Yep, cool. Gentlemen, the game looks awesome. Thanks for coming by the show.
Thanks a lot.
Stay tuned. We're not quite done yet. Still more games to show you from E3 2015 right after this break.